Hello and welcome back to a very special episode of the Carvecast. This is episode 4 and today I have a special guest, my daughter Lila. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I am Lyla.
How old are you?
9 years old.
And why did you want to come on my podcast?
It's fun.
It's fun, okay.
Very.
So, Lila's here and we're going to dedicate this episode to skiing with and for children. So I thought, who would know better than my child? She's been skiing now for how long?
Like a year maybe?
A year?
I think we started like 2023, maybe October, like late 2023.
That's when we started on the dry slope.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but our first ski trip
It
was...
was in December, I think.
Yeah, so well, December, January, very
Yeah.
end of December, because we went for New Year's, didn't we?
The end of 2023, start of 2024.
Yeah. So we've been skiing, what, just over a year, basically. Okay, and we're going to run through the normal segments that I have on the show, but we're going to make them a little bit different, and we'll keep this one just a little bit shorter because Lila's attention span probably won't last for an hour. So, first of all, Lila, what we do is we do an intro, which we've done, and we welcome our listeners.
Hello.
Welcome, give them a big welcome.
Welcome.
There you go. That was beautiful. And we are going to do a quick rundown of today's topics, which I haven't yet decided because we're going to just have a chat about your skiing and we'll let that flow. And a personal skiing update we always do. So what is your personal skiing update? When was the last time you went skiing and where did you go?
The last time I went skiing was, I think it was Zermatt, was it?
No.
No, hang on.
Where did we go with your entire family?
Grindelwald.
Grindelwald. Grindelwald.
So that-
Why do we have to pronounce it Grindelwald?
Because once, I wasn't here for this, I don't
Yes, you were.
What?
Yeah, we was on our way to Grindelwald the first time.
and then
we got stopped at customs.
And then they were like, oh, where are you going? And then Daddy was like, oh, Grindelwald. And then he was like, Grindelwald? Grindelwald? And we were like, oh, Grindelwald.
Yeah, so basically he didn't understand, did he?
Yeah,
When
he did
I
not
kept saying to him
understand.
Grindelwald, and he didn't understand.
Yeah.
And then he went, Grindelwald.
Grindelwald.
Yeah, so you have to say it in a specific way, or they just don't understand. So clearly, being us, the ones in the wrong who can't pronounce things properly. So you went to Grindelwald for Christmas. For New Year's.
Yeah.
And who came with us?
My 2 cousins, my auntie and uncle. Did Holly come? No.
Yes.
Oh, did she? Oh, yeah. Holly,
Bearing in mind this was only a month ago.
Mummy and Daddy, and Nanny and Grandad.
And one more you're missing. What one of your other aunties came?
Molly.
Yes, Auntie Molly.
There we go.
Yes. So, we went to Grindelwald with a huge amount of us. And is everyone who went an experienced skier, or was it some people's first time?
Some people's definitely first time, but not on the dry slopes. They have definitely been on the dry slopes because they came to the dry slope before they started.
Okay.
But it was their first time skiing on the snow.
Okay, so your cousins and your auntie and uncle, they did a few sessions, didn't they, on the dry slope?
Yes.
Before they came. Why did they do that, do you think?
Because if you do it on the dry slopes, it's way different than on the snow. So you need to at least get experience on the dry slopes or else... And also, you won't be able to ski if you can't do it at least on the dry slopes.
And is the dry slope easier or harder than snow?
I think it's actually harder.
Yeah, it is
Because
harder.
it's really like hard material.
Yeah.
But then snow is like more slippery, so you can glide easily.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
But
So actually, if you practice on the dry slope, do you think that would then make it easier when you get onto the snow?
Very.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
And-
dry slope's a good place to practice.
Yeah. And once you've been on the snow, try going on the dry slope. It's like you can't do it.
It's very hard, isn't
Yes.
it? Yeah, it's very hard. Going from snow, beautiful snow, back to the dry slopes is very, very difficult.
Because it's so slippery, and then when you get on it, it's so rough.
Yeah. But would you say that if you became very good on the dry slope, would you then be even better on the snow?
It's hard because, like, if they're good at like slipperiness and they can cooperate with it, yes, you will be. But if you're like all over the place with slipperiness, you won't be.
Okay. But generally speaking, if you can ski on the dry slope, you can ski even better on the snow.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
Okay, that's good. And so that trip, you got to ski with your cousins for the first time ever, and your auntie and uncle as well. And how did you enjoy that? Did you like that?
Yes, very. Because since my auntie, uncle, and 2 cousins live roughly quite far away, like 30 minutes maybe.
That's quite far, is
Yeah,
it? 30
and
minutes.
we sometimes barely see them.
We barely see them. Well, you see them quite a lot, and we
Yeah.
are seeing them today. But I understand in your world it
Yeah.
feels quite far apart.
Exactly. I would like to see them once a week.
Oh, you'd like to see him once a week? Okay, well, I think Uncle Mike watches this show avidly. He's our #1 fan, so he'll be very, very happy to hear that you would like to see him more.
Yes.
Okay.
He's very funny.
He's very funny. I think he'll be glad to hear that too.
Let's bring him on the show.
Okay, that's a good idea. That is a good idea. So, we now do a section called Gear Talk. So, we'll do it a little bit differently today, but tell the audience about what is your favourite item of ski stuff. Could be your skis, your boots, your gloves, your helmet, your goggles, your outfit. What is it that you like the most?
This is really hard. I like it all. But if you're talking about like helpingness kind of thing, I don't know that word. I don't think it is. Like helping you to ski, definitely my skis and my poles.
Your skis and your poles.
Yes. But then if you're talking about just roughly not mattering about like skiing in general, then my outfit, because I just love my outfit. It keeps me so warm.
You love your outfit, it keeps you warm.
Very.
And in fact, let's talk a little bit about what you wear. When you go to the slopes, let's talk about it top to bottom. So you obviously have your skis, and you're very lucky you've got your own skis.
Yeah.
And then you've got your boots, and you love your boots, don't you?
I love them so
Do you
much.
remember the name of the brand?
No.
They're made by a company called Lang, which is Lange.
Oh, yes,
And
of
tell the audience what colour they are.
They are pink, white, and purple. They have pink, white, like straps, and then the whole boot is white.
Yeah. And are they very girly?
Very.
Okay, so she loves those. And tell everyone where you got them from.
I got them from the dry slopes from a man named John. John?
Yeah.
Yeah. And just before we weren't that experienced, but we were just thinking, well, if we're going to ski for a long time, it's going to be kind of worthless if we go on the snow and we have to rent boots every single day.
Yeah, so that's a good point. So if you're going skiing maybe only once with no intention to go again,
Then don't buy boots.
then yeah, maybe don't buy boots. Try and
Yeah.
rent them if you're just trying it out. Although, like I said, better to try them out on the dry slope or on the indoor slope
Yeah.
and decide then whether it's something you think you're going to carry on doing. But you've only got to go a couple of times and the rental becomes more expensive than actually just buying your own. So we knew we were going to do it quite a few times. So buying Lila's boots was cheaper than renting them overall. And actually the amount of times we've been, we've probably saved quite a lot of money by
Yeah.
buying them. But it is a large, obviously, initial investment. But if you go to someone like John, and the shop's called the Ski Shack in Chatham, he'll help you out massively with all of those kinds of things, especially for the children. He's amazing with children. So then your outfits, talk a little bit about, so you wear socks. What kind of socks do you wear? Are they like normal socks or are they special ski socks?
They're special ski socks because if you wear normal socks, your feet are just going to be freezing.
Yes.
Because, like, say I had a pair of Nike socks. If I wear them to skiing, I'm done for.
You're done for?
Yes.
Okay. So the most important thing with socks is not necessarily to get dedicated ski socks, although I would recommend that, especially for children, and adults for that matter. But the most important thing is you can't have cotton in them. Cotton doesn't breathe, therefore it soaks up the water from your sweat, and then the water that you've soaked up gets freezing cold and makes your foot cold. So you do need to buy socks that are at least not cotton, and ones that don't have any seams on, because the seams with the tight boot can dig into you and bruise you and hurt you and make your experience very uncomfortable, as happened to Auntie Jenny.
Oh,
Yeah, she literally had blisters because she bought some socks and I hadn't seen them, so I didn't know to sort of stop her from wearing them. But she had these like seams and patterns on the socks and they imprinted into her leg and they really hurt her.
Yeah, they were all up here, like, and she, like, I think she had to go to the hospital, didn't she?
No, she didn't have to go to the hospital.
But they
blimey.
were just really bad.
Yeah, it was bad. They actually blistered and it was very uncomfortable.
No,
but luckily
fine.
it was fine by the next day, fortunately,
Yeah.
so that was good. And then, so you wear your socks, then you have, what is your first item of clothing that you put on? What do we
Base
call
layer.
that? A base layer. And that's like what? Like a sort of very tight thermal?
Yeah, very tight thermal, like leggings and top, but not like ordinary tops.
Is it thick or thin?
It's quite, like, I would say it's in the middle.
Okay.
Because it's not too thin, like it's like a piece of paper, but it's not too thick, like it's like a coat.
Okay.
So it's kind of just in the middle.
Okay, but they're not big fluffy things, are they? They're quite thin things. So that's your first layer.
They have fur inside of them to keep my body warm.
Okay, yeah. So they have a slight sort of furry lining to them, even though they're quite thin. And then, what do you wear on top of that? So on your bottoms, you would wear your base layer and then
Salopettes.
salopettes. So in skiing, you wear these sort of baggy-ish trousers that are quite a sort of smooth material. And the most important thing about all of your outer layers of ski clothes is that they are waterproof for when you fall over in the snow. And which is quite fun on certain days, isn't it? Falling over.
Once when it was so powdery, I just wanted to fall over all the time.
Yeah, because it's fun, isn't it? Because it's so soft. Yeah,
Very.
and it's fun to fall over.
But I will say on the dry slopes, they're kind of prickly.
Yeah, don't fall over
They
on the dry
hurt
slope.
your arm.
Yeah, they do hurt.
Because once I fell over on the dry slope and I had a little like bruise here with like little dots to show like where the prickly parts were.
Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, on the snow we don't mind falling over, but on the dry slope not so much fun. Okay, and then so your base layer, and with ski trousers and jackets, they have two ratings. They have a hydrostatic rating, I think it's called, which is how waterproof it is. So 10,000 is kind of the minimum, and like 30,000 would be a very, very expensive, very comprehensive technical garment. But you really want at least sort of 5 to 10,000 on the waterproofness. And then there's another rating, which is the breathability, which also starts at around 5 to 10,000 and goes all the way up to sort of 30,000-ish. And again, you really want it to be breathable, because when you're skiing, you do sweat. And if that moisture has no way to come out, it's going to stick to you and it's going to make you cold. So waterproofing and breathability are very important when it comes to not just for children, but for adults as well, in terms of the outer layer of clothing. And your salopettes obviously keep you warm, dry, and they protect you from the wind.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then your top layer, you've got your base layer, and then you have
I don't know what it's called.
a mid layer.
Yeah, mid layer. It's just underneath your coat. Yeah, it's underneath your coat.
Yeah.
But it's quite furry.
Yeah, so it's a fleece,
Yes,
isn't it?
very.
So she has quite a big, thick, fleecy type mid layer, we call it. And the reason we call it a mid layer is because your base sort of goes on the bottom, then your mid layer, which tends to be like a fluffy fleece, goes in the middle, and then it's your jacket.
Yeah.
And what other items of clothing do you wear as we go further up?
Obviously a coat.
Yes.
I wear a helmet
Yep.
and goggles. Obviously they're on my helmet.
Yeah.
And no gloves.
Gloves.
Yes.
And do you have mittens or gloves?
Mittens.
Because they are...
Warmer.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
very.
Okay. So they're the kind of items of clothing that your child would need if they was to go skiing with you, or even with their school or something like that, or friends maybe. The helmet and goggles, it's very important that you try them on together and don't buy them individually, because they do need to fit into one another. And actually recently I bought Lila a new pair of goggles and didn't do that, and they don't fit very well with your helmet, do they?
So we had to, when we went to London, I got a new pair.
Yeah, so we'll have to change them for the different ones. So Goggles and helmet, very important. And make sure with the goggles that they are a light enough colour that they can use them on days where it's quite dull, and also days when it's quite bright. And if needs be, you may even need to buy 2 pairs, because they don't really do interchangeable lenses for children's goggles that I've seen. So that's our gear talk. Now let's quickly talk about your skis, because you love your skis, don't you?
I love them so much.
And why do you love them? Because they're what?
They're honestly they're twin tips.
Twin tips. Okay, so what does that mean, twin tips?
So twin tips in every back of everyone's skis. If you don't have this, then I'm kind of worried. It's kind of like, no, or yeah, you get on the front or the back that it has a little.
Both.
Yeah, both.
Well, I mean, on the front
No,
of
for
normal
everyone's.
skis, they have it mainly on the front.
Yeah, for like normal skis, they have it mainly on the front. It's like a little curve that goes up.
Yeah, so you sort of ride over the top of the snow.
And then that like lets you, like, if you have it on the back, then it lets you go backwards. But I'm not saying if you don't have it, then you can't go backwards.
No, but if you was like a real sort of freestyle person, then you need it on the front and the back, which is why they use twin tips. But essentially the twin tips, instead of just having the curve up on the front, it also has the exact same curve on the back. And actually the rider of the ski sits more centrally in the ski instead of further back. And for children of Lila's age, and Lila's 9, so anything around, you know, sort of anything from very young all the way up until whatever age, twin tips are really good, and they find them very manoeuvrable and very easy to use, very lightweight. So I would recommend that for someone beginning who is a child of any age really. Twin tips are a really good way to go, and then later on they can move towards more of a sort of more of a conventional style ski, especially if they want to sort of start heading into sort of better techniques and whatnot. But they're a great place to start.
And I will warn you, whenever you change your skis, it'll feel a lot different.
Yeah. So when you go from one ski to the other, it feels very different, for sure.
So don't think that they're broken, and don't think that otherwise. For any ski, it feels different once you try it on.
Yeah. So don't presume that they're broken, just work with
Yeah.
it. Okay, amazing. So
I
what we're
kinda
gonna
need to do that.
what we're gonna quickly talk about now. We normally talk about ski technique and tips, but what I'd like to speak to you about is, I would say the hardest thing to overcome is not learning a specific technique, but it's just being a little bit scared, isn't it, of the steep slopes?
That way.
Because you have, tell me the different coloured slopes.
So green, easiest, like the very easiest. Blue, a little bit harder, second easiest. Red is the second hardest. The slope will probably be about like that maybe.
Yeah, can be, yeah.
Yeah, and then black is the absolute hardest, and those are the ones I'm scared about.
But you are scared about the blacks, but have you done blacks?
Yes.
Yes.
And once when we were in Zermatt, we did a black slope, and I wanted to do it again. Because that day...
You wanted to do it again?
Yeah, because the day that I wanted to do it again, it was so powdery, so it seemed like a blue for me.
Oh, so basically, okay, that's a good point. That's a
Yeah.
very good point. And actually, this is the thing that affects Lila, and actually a lot of people more than anything else, is not so much the steepness, although initially that is quite scary. That one you did in Zermatt is very, very steep.
It was like...
More than that, I would say, yeah.
Ooh.
Very steep.
It wasn't like that though.
No.
That's impossible.
But if you slipped, you would slide down the whole slope.
Yes.
Yeah. So what I was going to say there was, I think more importantly than the steepness of the slope, what do you find more scary than the actual steepness?
The texture.
The texture.
Hard pack.
Hard pack. Okay, so hard pack means where it's been very, very compressed and it turns into almost ice. Not ice, but very similar
Very
to
slippery.
ice. Very slippery.
I do not like that one bit.
No. So when the snow is powdery, that makes you feel more confident.
Yes, because I always think to myself, it slows me down.
Yeah.
Because when you have powder, it slows you down
It
a
does.
lot.
It does, yeah.
So you don't need to do your snowplow.
No.
Or
Okay.
pizza, as we call it.
Not that you do that anymore anyway.
Yeah, I don't. But for anyone who's beginner,
Oh, okay.
yeah, you don't need to do it.
No,
if there's
okay,
powder.
good point.
And plus, you'll probably hurt yourself. 'Cause
Okay.
since it's so powdery, if you're going like this, the snow will probably catch up
Yeah.
and you'll fall right.
And this is a really good point, because if you are a beginner and you're going for the first time, especially with children, having better snow does make things a lot easier, a lot less scary, and a lot more enjoyable. And one of the best ways to find the good snow is to get a guide or an instructor to help you, especially on that first morning, show you around and take you to the good snow, because that will make your experience a lot nicer, a lot more enjoyable, and a lot less fear-filled as well. So that's a really good point. And actually you get more fearful on things like hard pack and ice, don't you, rather than the actual slope itself?
Yeah, because if you think about it, my worst nightmare is steep slope, hard pack and ice.
Okay, I understand. I agree with you.
Because
what about moguls?
Oh God. Well,
what about if it was hard pack, ice and moguls and steep?
Oh God.
Turn around?
No.
Maybe you turn around and go back?
Yes. I don't care if we're halfway down the slope.
Oh, okay. Is there a technique that you can use if you are sort of maybe a little bit worried or a little bit scared and it's a bit too steep, that can just get you down a bit more safely?
Definitely.
What is that?
Sliding.
Side slipping.
Side slipping.
Yeah.
So side slipping is where, so if you do a hockey stop, it's a hockey stop for anyone who's beginning, is not a pizza stop. It's where you put your skis together, and then you face like this. But if you go like this and you slip down.
Okay, so for the people that are only listening and they can't see your hands moving, what Lila means is when you do a hockey stop, you keep your skis together parallel and you kind of do like a handbrake turn. You skid with them parallel and you end up with them parallel to one another, rather than doing a pizza stop.
Yeah.
Yeah?
And if you lean forward, you'll go forward.
Yeah.
If you lean backward, then you'll go back.
Okay, so when you're side slipping, basically you stand perpendicular to the slope. So the slope's going up and down and you stand across it with your skis directly next to each other. And what you do is you basically let them slide by letting them roll almost a little bit down the hill, and then you grip them by edging your skis, and you do that the whole way down, and that can get you down quite a scary slide, a scary slope, can't it?
Because I don't know if you remember this, but when we were just about to finish and go to that restaurant, there was like that really steep slope that I didn't like.
Yes.
Holly and Molly already went down it.
Yes.
And bear in mind, my cousins and my uncle and auntie weren't with us.
No.
Because it was a little bit too steep. So we were on it, and I just literally, I thought like I could not do this, and I couldn't finish the run. But all I did is I side slipped all the way down, and then it got to like a blue part, so I just skied.
Then you got back again.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So side slipping is a really good thing that if you're going to practice before you go skiing for the first time, or even if you're a really comprehensive skier, then you want to move on to the steeper slopes, but you don't want to worry that you can't do them. You can learn how to side slip. You can get your instructor to help you, and that helps you down pretty much any slope, regardless, doesn't it? So that's a good technique. Well done, Lila. Very, very good. So let's talk about specifically about a destination. So you've been so far. Let's see if you can remember all the places you've been. Let's name them. So number one, where's the first place you remember? Zermatt. Grindelwald.
Les Three Valleys.
Les Three Valleys. Anywhere else?
Where was that place that we went after Grindelwald? And I really liked it. It was my favourite place.
Oh, Muren.
Muren.
Yeah, which is part of the same resort, actually.
Yeah.
And remember Gustard?
Gustard.
Yeah.
Yes.
You didn't like that one, did you? Because
No.
you fell off the T-bar.
If you don't...
Do you remember that?
Yes. The T-bar is a button lift, but it has two people in it.
Yeah, it's not as easy as a button lift, is it?
No.
No, it's in the shape of an upside down T, and one person sits on each side. But
like
especially
that.
for Lila, where you have an adult and a child, it can be quite hard to balance because the thing sits at a certain height. And that was very steep, that one in Gustard, wasn't it?
It was like going up like that.
So they're the main places you've been. What about the indoor places? Can you remember the names?
I know where I've been, but I can't remember. Obviously, dry slopes.
Dry slope at Chatham. What about the one that we go to quite regularly on a Sunday?
I can't remember the Hemel Hempstead.
Hemel Hempstead. Yeah.
It's snow, but obviously not real snow. So if you want to get used to the snow,
It is real snow, but it's made synthetically.
So you can't eat it.
No, you definitely can't eat it.
Which I was doing for quite
Yeah,
long.
because it has a chemical in it. You cannot eat it. And then the other thing, other place was the one in Holland, which is called Landgraf.
Landgraf.
Yeah, Landgraf.
Yeah.
And that's fun, isn't it?
It's so fun.
Yeah, it's so fun. So yeah, then you've got Landgraf. Apologies for anyone who's watching this on video. The sun has just come out and completely blown out the highlights in the video, but there's nothing I can do about it, so we'll carry on. Just for your FYI, if you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can also watch us on YouTube. Just search for the Carvecast. So out of the resorts that you mentioned just then, what is your favourite? Zermatt, Three Valleys or Grindelwald? Let's keep it with those three.
Okay. It's between... Oh my god, it's really hard. I love all those places. Zermatt, maybe.
Zermatt.
Or I would have to go to Les Three Valleys again.
And we are, aren't we? When are we going there?
Oh my god, you're really questioning me.
We're going there in a month. Yeah. Daddy's going out early and then you're going to catch up with the girls. March, yes. Yeah. So we're going back to the Three Valleys.
Because Les Three Valleys, they have extremely easy slopes.
Good.
I will say, if anybody is a beginner, go to Les Three Valleys.
Yeah, Three Valleys would be good, yeah. They've got a lot of easy slopes, yeah, and it's a beautiful place, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Or Les Arcs, where you went.
Yeah. You've not been to that one, though.
No. But what I've heard is they have a couple blacks for, obviously, people who wouldn't be experienced skiers. Like, they have the longest black in the world.
No, that's Alpe d'Huez.
I'm supposed to be talking about Alpe d'Huez.
Oh, okay. Well, we did an episode on Alpe d'Huez just the other day. So if you want to know about Alpe d'Huez, and Lila is right, it's an ultimate beginner area. You can listen to that previous podcast, episode 3, I think it was.
Yeah.
So we get to this stage here, and we have our Q&A section. Now, I have got a question about technology with skiing, which I'm going to answer in the next episode. But Uncle Mike did ask us a question. So let's see if we can answer it, because it's quite a good question.
Can I read it?
Yes, you can.
Yay.
So it's this question here, and it says, Uncle Mike, question for the podcast. You read it out nice and clear.
Can you do a section on overcoming fear, please? I'm sure every person has experienced fear at some point of their skiing journey.
Very good. So this is a very good question from Uncle Mike, and Uncle Mike found skiing for the first time a little bit challenging, didn't he? Mm-hmm. So let's give, what would be your number one piece of advice for someone who is struggling with fear when they're skiing?
Don't think that you're going to fall.
Okay, so be positive.
Because that's a problem that I have sometimes.
Okay.
I always think to myself, oh God, I'm going to fall. Oh God, I'm going to fall. But then, and actually once I was thinking that and I fell, because I'm not concentrating on my skiing. I'm concentrating on falling.
On your fear.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think probably, how would you summarise that? We would say maybe be positive, don't be negative, just concentrate on what you're doing and don't think about what could happen.
Yeah. Think about the positive side of what can happen.
Yeah, okay. That's a good one. I think another good one for overcoming fear is to not overthink, which relates a little bit back to what you've said, but to just get on with it, try not to think about it, concentrate on your technique.
Go with the flow.
Yeah, go with the flow. If you're thinking about all the things that you've been told during your training, like pressure in the outside ski and keeping in the front of the boot and all these things that you will hear when you do your training, then you're much less likely to let other thoughts encroach. And also I think to remember that actually, especially on snow, you see people fall over all the time and they're absolutely fine. It's only on a very, very rare occasion when somebody hurts themselves, and most people who hurt themselves are doing something significant like jumping or off piste. It's very rare when someone who is just pottering around the pistes, being sensible, hurts themselves, because the snow for the most part is soft and slippery, and you've got good clothing on to protect you. So it's very unusual for people to hurt themselves unless something extreme happens, and you do have to put that into context. And I think the other thing as well, which we actually spoke about yesterday when Mummy did the podcast with me, is that you don't want to just stand at the top of a slope and keep looking, because the more you look, the steeper it will get.
And also, if you ever think it's so steep and there's loads of powder off-piste, go on the off-piste.
Okay.
That's what Molly told me when I got back down. She was like, look, like a perfectly good, it's perfectly good over there. You should have went over there, Lila, look. And honestly, people have went down it because I saw loads of ski track. It wasn't too powdery that it'll probably go up to my knees, because that happened quite a lot. And it wasn't hard pack at all.
Okay.
So if you ever having trouble and you see a nice off-piste powdery part, go on it.
Okay, but the only thing we do have to state with going off-piste, and going off-piste means that basically you go slightly outside of the poles that tell you where the piste is that there all of a sudden there is significantly more danger, because there can be hidden rocks, trees, and other things, crevasses and all kinds of things. So when Lila is saying go off-piste, she's saying just outside the flags, which is likely to be safer than if you was to go further. But when you're a beginner and if you don't have people around you to look after you and help you, just stay inside the poles. Or let's make that clear.
If you see somebody, if you say you weren't struggling, you saw someone else struggling, and you ask them, do you know how to go off-piste? Because beginners, they probably don't know what off-piste even is.
No. And
they will be more scared of going off-piste than even on the real slope.
Yeah. Okay, well, you've been skiing now quite a lot for a little while, so you can just venture off a little bit, but not too far, just outside the poles. But for everyone else, let's stay inside the poles, obviously, unless you're an advanced or expert skier. And please be safe. That is the most important thing.
If you see any lumps, don't go on it.
No, and don't always presume that just because it looks nice outside the poles that it is, because sometimes it's very hard and it looks nice and it's really not. So that is our podcast on beginners. Tell everybody what you would like to be when you are older and you finish school.
A ski instructor.
A ski instructor.
You're a ski instructor.
I am a ski instructor, but not a very advanced one.
Yeah. It's not level 4.
No, definitely not level 4 yet. But one day maybe we'll both get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
thank you so much to everyone who has been listening and watching. Again, if you've been watching, I do apologise for the blown out highlights. The day was not as nice as this earlier, and now all of a sudden it's got bright and the camera is set to the wrong settings to be able to deal with it. So thank you everyone for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you want to take your kids skiing, hopefully that helps you a little bit to get them on that journey. And the most important thing is that skiing is extremely fun and puts big smiles on people's faces. And we always say, don't we, who's the best skier?
The person with the biggest smile.
The person with the biggest smile. So give it a go, get out there, be safe and have lots of fun, because there is nothing as wonderful as when you're a parent as watching your child enjoying themselves skiing, overcoming challenges, overcoming fears, pushing through boundaries, and it's absolutely incredible for their sort of future development as a person. And also even Lila likes to help people as well. So when she sees people that have fallen over, she likes to go over to them and help them, even when they are fully grown 15 stone men. And sometimes I don't think they quite take it in the way that it is offered.
If they're like fully grown people, I will ask them if they're at least okay. I won't be like, oh, do you want a helping hand?
Okay, but you're just going to
won't.
ask them if they're
Yes.
okay. That's very cute. All right, but thank you very much for listening. We will see you in the next episode, which, believe it or not, will be episode 5. And I'm hoping it will be myself, my wife, Holly and Molly. So we're going to have a bit of a group one. Lila can join in as well. And we're going to do a big bumper episode on Zermatt. So that is it from me.
Thank you everyone for watching.
Take care.
Bye.